In this video, we're going to give you 2 tips to play every shot. Part 2, back foot edition. The first shot we're going to be looking at is the Afri Special, the cut shot. The first tip we're going to be looking at is to still ensure that you get a nice shoulder dip even though we're going on the back foot. What this allows is it allows us to get our hands up nice and high and allows us to hit through the contact point. At the same time, the shoulder dip is going to force us to stay in a side-on position, which is going to allow us more access to the cut and give us the control to hit the cut where we need to go. When we say shoulder dip, it does go slightly towards the ball, not straight down, because then your hands have to do a lot of work. Ultimately, you do want to head nice and close to the point of contact to give you that control. For tip number 2, we're going to look at trying to keep the back elbow parallel to the ground. What this is going to ensure is that if it drops underneath, we're coming under the ball and we're losing control and we might spoon a catch towards point. But at the same time, if it goes too much up, you're not going to get a fluid swing through a ball, which is going to cost us our contact and our power. Keeping it parallel allows us to have access to it over the ball and through the ball to make a nice, clean strike of the ball, which is going to get us our boundaries. Next up, we're going to speak about the pull shot. For tip number 1, we want to hit from a high to low position. To do this, in the set, we want to get our hands nice and high, because this is going to give us the control. The gravity coming down with the bat to the contact point is also going to give us a bit more swing speed, but at the same time, it's going to help us extend through the point of contact, which is going to enable us to have a bigger swing, giving us control and giving us power at the same time, which ultimately is going to let you boss the game. By doing this, there's no need to roll your wrists, because that is going to cost us power by stunning the ball into the ground, and it's also going to allow the ball to compress into the bat a little bit more and ping off the bat even better. For tip number 2, we want to try and stay side on for as long as possible, because this is going to allow us to have a nice big swing through the contact point, but also to keep our head in line for long so we can track the ball. And then on contact, you can rotate through and allow it to go. There are 2 schools of thought here. We say side on till contact, or you can pop on contact. Both are fine. Find which works for you and stay comfortable with it. Next up, we're going to be looking at the late cut. The first tip we're going to look at is to make sure that we hit over the top of the ball. What this does is it gives us control and a little bit of power onto the ball. But the best part is you can always get it down there no matter the line. Making sure that your hands go nice and over the top of the ball, contact point a little bit later to really enhance that the ball goes down and towards the third man area. If you don't do this and you try and angle the bat to guide the ball down, you are slightly promoting the outside edge, which in turn could get you out. The second tip we want to look at is to make sure that we get our head nice and close to the line, so we can really track the ball and hit down onto it while following it down to third man. This is important because once you're in line, if the ball does deviate, you can make adjustments if needed by going out wider with your hands or looking to defend if it does come back towards the stump, which will prolong your innings, which allows you to score more runs. Next up, hip glance. The first tip we're going to look at is to play in line with the front hip. What this does is already allows the ball the angle from which to go into the leg side with. But at the same time, if you play in line with the front hip, you've got a contact point, reference point, where you can play the ball from to make sure that you're playing it nice and late and allowing the ball to just hit the bat. Which takes us to tip number 2, which is just to allow the ball to hit the bat and you don't try and rotate it. This allows you to use more of the bat face and using the angle to get the ball into the space. Whereas if you look to rotate it, you might bring the edge forward too quickly and it could pop up. The other problem is you might miss it completely and then not get runs for yourself. Next up, the back foot punch. The first tip we want to look at is making sure that the contact is nice and late, more in line with the back hip. Because as we move in back, our head's going to be slightly in front of our back hip, and this allows us a good contact point at the apex of our swing and allowing the hands to go through there. At the same time, it also allows us to track the ball for long periods of time so we can play it nice and close to our body without having to reach out for it and keeping a good channel to give ourselves the best chance at success. Tip number 2 is trying to keep your shape for long. What this means is as you're hitting, you're trying to keep that figure 9 shape with the elbow nice and strong through the contact point all the way to the top, because this is going to allow the hands to guide the ball towards the gap where you want, while imparting power on it to beat the fielders and get the most out of it that you can. If you do break your shape and you do pull across, you're going to slice the ball, which is going to cost you power, or you could even nick off, which gives your wicket away and ultimately hurts your team. Thank you for watching part 2. If you do want part 3 of this video to come out, we need something like 20,000 likes. Good luck.